Hi everyone, Liz Klimek here, Planetarium Manager at the South Carolina State Museum. Well, it's finally time to say goodbye to fall as the solstice is right around the corner on the 21st. So happy solstice, everybody. The solstice marks the beginning of winter for those of us here in the Northern Hemisphere and the beginning of summer for those in the Southern Hemisphere. And it just so happens that on the solstice this year, there is a special treat waiting for us up in the night sky. So let's jump ahead to that evening and check it out. So here we are looking south-southwest from Columbia, South Carolina on Monday, December 21st at 6 p.m. That puts us roughly 40 minutes past sunset. Now, what you'll probably notice before anything else is this bright first quarter moon high overhead. But you're going to want to turn your attention towards the southwestern horizon, where, depending on how good your eyesight is, you'll either see 2 points of light extremely close to each other in the sky, or if your eyes are more like mine, you will see one bright star-like object. Now, normally when you see a bright star-like object in the west near sunset, it tends to be Venus. However, this time it is not Venus, but a conjunction of the two gas giants, Jupiter and Saturn. Now, we've been talking about these planets quite a bit over the past few episodes because Jupiter and Saturn have been slowly getting closer and closer to each other in the sky throughout much of this past year. So what exactly has been happening? Well, remember that the planets all go round and round the sun, kind of like cars on a racetrack, each in their own lane. So here in this schematic, which I've created in Worldwide Telescope, this innermost circle here is the orbit of the Earth, this is the orbit of Jupiter, and this outer circle here is the orbit of Saturn. Now, planets that are closer to the sun move more quickly than those farther away, and so that means Jupiter here is going to move more quickly than Saturn. And that means Jupiter is going to move through the background stars, or move through the constellations more quickly than Saturn. So while it has appeared that Jupiter and Saturn have been approaching each other in the night sky like two old friends, what's really happening, or has been happening, is that Jupiter has been catching up to Saturn in the night sky and is about to pass it or overtake it in this inner lane right here. Now, it's not going to pass directly in front of Saturn as it appears to be doing in this diagram, but it is effectively just passing it in this innermost lane. So we're over here on the Earth, and as we look out towards those planets, the light from each of them appears to come from pretty much the same direction, and that's why they appear to be so very close to each other, or their light can kind of blur together and appear as one object. But it's important to note that these two planets are nowhere near each other in actual space. So you can see in this diagram here, there's quite a bit of distance between those two orbits. Jupiter is 5 times farther from the sun than we are. Saturn is 9 times farther from the sun than we are. And that means the distance between these two orbits, or these two lanes, so to speak, corresponds to hundreds of millions of miles. So while Jupiter and Saturn appear to be two friends meeting up in the night sky, in reality, they are nowhere near each other and are very definitely maintaining their social distance up in the sky. All right, so the internet has been abuzz with all sorts of headlines like, "This hasn't happened in centuries." Well, sort of. So, conjunctions of Jupiter and Saturn happen once every 20 years, approximately. They just don't always get this close to each other in the sky. The last time they were this close was about 400 years ago, but the pair was so close to the sun that their light kind of got lost in the glare of the sun, and they probably weren't visible. the last time they were this close and far enough away from the sun in order to be visible, like this year, was about 800 years ago. So it kind of depends on how you look at it. But 20 years from now, Jupiter and Saturn will be fairly close to each other in the sky, just not this close. And then 20 years after that, and so forth. Now, what or how close exactly are these two planets going to be? Well, they are going to be 1/10 of a degree apart. So what's 1/10 of a degree? What's 1 degree for that matter? Well, remember a circle is 360 degrees. And so if you take a circle and you split it up into 4 equal parts, each part, or each pie slice, if you will be 90 degrees. So if I, for example, turn all the way to my right, I will have turned 90 degrees. If I turn all the way around and look behind me, I've turned 180 degrees. And if I were to turn all the way around, which is really awkward to do in this tight little space that I'm in, I will have swept out 360 degrees. So now imagine taking that circle and splitting it up into 360 equal parts, or equal pie slices. Those would each be 1 degree. But it's really hard to get a sense of how much that is without some sort of reference. So what you can do is you can take your fist, put it out at arm's length, and the width of your fist corresponds to 10 degrees in the sky. So we're getting closer to 1/10 of a degree, but we're not quite there yet. So what you can also do is take your pinky, put that out at arm's length, and the width of your pinky corresponds to about 1 degree in the sky. So we're definitely getting closer. You could just imagine 1/10 of your pinky, splitting your pinky into 10 equal parts, and imagining how far apart that would be in the sky. Or you could create your own handy little reference tool. So I just looked around my home and I found just these simple, basic paper clips. Just thin wire, simple paper clips. And I found that if I stacked 10 of them side by side, they would span the width of my pinky. Kind of like that. So since there's 10 of them, now if I just take one of them, that is 1/10 of a degree in the sky if I hold it out at arm's length. So it's not perfect, but it kind of gives you a sense of how far apart those two points of light will be. So when's the best time to go out and look for this spectacle? Well, you don't have a huge viewing window here. So you want to go out as soon as you can past sunset, no later than a half hour past sunset. Look towards the southwest. Jupiter and Saturn will be pretty unmistakable. There's nothing else of comparable brightness in this direction that you could really confuse them with. So look for them at about 6 o'clock. Now, if we go too late into the evening, so here we go, we're going to go through the next hour. You can see that as nighttime descends, those two planets are together sinking into the western horizon and are starting to set. So we're here at 6:45, heading towards 7 o'clock. By 7 o'clock, the pair has hit the tops of the trees in my simulated skyline, and by 7:15, they are pretty much gone. So you don't want to wait too late. If you go out past 7:30, you'll have lots of other awesome things to look at, like the moon, but you will have missed the conjunction. Now let me reset our clock here to back where we started at 6 o'clock. Now this time let me step ahead day by day. So a common question is, for how long can you see the pair together? Well, really after the 21st, Jupiter, remember, is passing Saturn in its orbits. So Jupiter is going to start to pull away from Saturn. And it's a little misleading in the software because their light still is kind of merged in the simulation. But in reality, starting on the 22nd, the pair is going to pull apart. Jupiter is going to move further east, leaving Saturn behind. But remember, Earth is also going around the Sun in its own orbit, which has the effect of that pair seeming to sink into the western horizon. So by the time we hit the first of the year, they will have separated and at the same time gotten really low on that horizon. So you don't have too long to see it, but you don't have to wait to the 21st. Go out tonight. Go out tonight if it's clear. Go out tomorrow night. Part of the fun is getting to see the two planets get closer to each other in the sky, come together, and then separate again. So the show goes over or lasts for multiple days. Also, going out before the 21st gives you a chance to check out your viewing location, see if you have a clear view of the horizon, see if you have trees or buildings blocking your view. If so, then you have some time to go out and find a better viewing location. It also gives you a little bit of insurance because if the unfortunate case comes where it's cloudy on that night, you'll at least have gotten to see the planets almost at greatest conjunction, or almost together there a day or two beforehand. But hopefully it's clear. So I wish you clear skies not only on the 21st, but around the 21st as well. At any rate, thank you so much for joining me here today. As always, take care of yourselves and each other, especially during this holiday season. Happy holidays to all of you out there. Don't forget to check out the planetarium and the observatory at the State Museum. Don't forget to click below to like and subscribe and comment. And I'll see you next time.